Hey people, I'm going to do the second tutorial getting into vanilla JavaScript. And yeah, I was working on some demos and first intros, and I really thought like, well, I should get the template ready. I can talk for hours about little things, but I first want to got a kind of template ready so you can start drawing and doing stuff in vanilla JavaScript. And this is more for people that have kind of experience on processing P5GS and stuff. And basically, I really want my source small, like put this, and also on coding. Uh, for example, I have this little demo here, the first one I showed you. Mostly when I start working, I add all kind of extras to it I can use. So this is the basic noise thing, only this time I added the FPS counter in it here, so you can track things and check the FPS. And yeah, mostly I copy and paste this, reuse this every time, like Lego blocks. Same time, like if I check my source here, like if I want the keyboard, I just go like add it to my source, and I do it in the init here. And this is one for the save image I don't use now. Like I added the keyboard check here, and now if I press a key, it gives the key F, I pressed, or key S if the space bar. So next time you can check. Let's see, space, yes, with that. Save. Okay. And I put the console F12 here. 1 second. Come on, baby. Key S, key space, So that's just for the keyboard. If I want to add a mouse, I'm going to all the source of mine. Including touch screen support, so I can put this in, and I have some globals I use here for the mouse, and yeah, I have to make them add them here as well, so mouse. And in the inits, I add this event lister for the mouse and selects my canvas here, so you really should be on top of that. And but I can say like, did I add it? Yeah, you can also use both of these. X and mouse I. Save. So now just adding that routine in it also adds the mouse. And I can see here the mouse position kind of thing. 0, 0, almost 9. Full screen. Okay. Anyway, so I try to make a kind of template kind of thing, new one. And I added all kinds of extras in it here, this one. And basically I put everything in like mouse control, keyboard with S key, it saves an image. Also proper scaling, you can also zoom in if you click with the mouse, you can zoom in and out. And why did I add also like more complicated image scaling routines? Well, basically also if I look at this source, from Neil one, I can copy and paste it here, but I also can go to the source here with my console. Just copy this. Yeah, or save it. And it's a big list already because I put everything needed kind of thing in it. I need for a good rocking template. But yeah, if you compare like processing, it's really like this piece of code, you know. This the same thing, only it's like way smaller and specialized. And I'm not trying to remake processing here or something. I want to go a step further. And also on creative coding, you have to know if you can make your own routines. Yeah, you have much more creative freedom, you know. You can make your own brushes, your own lines, whatever, you know. And also what important I feel is like with bitmap graphics, you can really mix and this subtract or add lights or make fades, transparency, working with set buffers, 3D layers, you know. So I'm going to explain some of the source now. It's real, and why I put it also sort of screen scaler in it, because I was working on it and I noticed JavaScript, if I have a real big canvas and scale it to the screen, it really looks horrible. I can show you the example, like here. like default, if I have a big canvas and draw it to the screen, the real big canvas, like this is a really big image, and like this is the image, and when I use CSS scale the canvas, of I put a use CSS to put a big canvas on the screen, you get like horrible dithering, you know, while my image is like this, you know. And also like if you're making like a nice work and then you go to fxhash or something and they make a screenshot, you get like real ugly graphics, you know. And also the frames per second is horrible if you work with big canvases scaled to the image, and you only really need to draw a little image instead of a big canvas, you know. So you see here the FPS is also like almost 60 now. Also when zooming in it's pretty fast because I can sort of bitmap scroll through my bitmap buffer. But if I scale the big canvas to the screen, yeah, it's canvas like 3000 by 3000 or something, and it does horrible. That's why I put a sort of image filter in it, so the FPS moves better, and yeah, you get also better thumbnails, you know. Like if I compare, if I save the image here, it's my big screen, you know. Is the image, and like if I look at the same result, our CSS scales big canvas, and this is like how the browser does shows a ping, and now the browser shows a big CSS of a big canvas. You really want this, you know. This is almost exactly the same kind of thing. Only I put here sort of my own pre-filter or filter in it for better performance and also better thumbnails or screen, you know. Anyway, I'm going to tell you something about the source, and it's real basic. I put a basic framework in it, and let's run it or copy it. And we go to this one. Here we go. I do a quick rundown on what it does and what I added to this basic template. Basically, the drawing starts at the bottom, at this part, and here, yeah, I do the drawing and draw lines and pixels and put in a real simple Bezier line. And but first, I'm going to scroll to the top. This is my image. You can change this as well, you know, like lower res. You can also do it like real small, you know. and really sort of keep track of the window size, that it's proper scaled, you know. And I work really with a real big buffer, say 2 times a day now. So the image width and height, you can change it also in the inlet here if you want for different ratios. Because I also like change the ratio. So it's a random chance. Save the sections. See, it's a random chance for a different ratio. You can do that stuff here. Oof. And I create an image buffer for my red pixels, my green pixels, my blue pixels, and also import a Z buffer. So I can, for every pixel, I can also track a sort of Z value. And it's like, then it's like Minecraft with pixels, you know? And you can really say, like, I want to, for example, I did a little test here in the bottom. And I try a simple, normal line, you know, without set. But I can also work with a Z buffer. And then I can say, like, well, default black or white. It's, the random is between 0 and 100. And I get red, and that's between, say, 10 and 30, you know, or between 10 and 40. And I can also say if it's cyan, put the set on 200. And if I go next, that's also the nice thing with your own line routines. You can sort of change it around, you know. And what I did now, I'd use make a line, but also add a Z here. And it's my own line here. I draw a routine, a little line routine here, where I got it. Line triangle. And it's based on the bresenham routine. This draws a line, and then it draws the pixel. And I can check here my set buffer, you know. So if the set is sort of okay between a certain range or something, it draws it if the set is closer, and if it's further away and something is drawn on top, you don't need to draw it. So what you see happening here is put the black and the red on a different set, like the cyan I put very far away, you know. So it will draw the cyan lines, but the other lines getting drawn over it, you know? So you can sort of control with the set also the layering, you know? You can do drawings in different set layers, and then you don't need to have to watch out. So you can sort of check, should I draw it or shouldn't I draw it, you know? So you see, like here, this Jan doesn't get drawn on the because the green and or the red and black are in front of it on set value, you know. If I make the set like 0 here, I get like really like the cyan is going suddenly boom, you know, creates priority. So if you use a set buffer, which, and I just used 2D graphics now, no 3D yet, but with the set you also can make like different layers, you know, and yeah, it's a whole new dimension opens. It's like Minecraft with pixels, you know. And the funny thing, I can say also like instead of yeah, you can mix the set values as well, you know, like with blurs and stuff. So you see, really, just using that set buffers can be really handy, you know. You can do all kinds of tricks. And why do I need to draw my own lines, you know? Like if I go like line try no 0, 1, I can also when I draw a pixel, I can also say like make a dithered line, you know, like for dot is 0, dot is 0, draw pixel of my line, dot plus plus, if dot is bigger than 5, save. So what you get now, a dotted line, you know? And you can sort of change the dots as well, or you know, step. So yeah, it's really sort of you can all kind of if you have your own lines, you can do noisy lines or anything like that, you know. So you have more control. Oh, yeah, you can create your own different lines and special lines and stuff like that, you know, based on the basic thing. I'm going to put it on 2 or and the bresenham routine is sort of open source, released to the public domain. Wiki. And I use that example now. Like here, you know. And I converted the basic thing into JavaScript. Like this is bresenham line routine. It's real old school, and it really works great and fast, and I can use it for a real, also for all kind of things. It's real useful, basic. And it seems this one is open source as well. You really have to. There are different ways to draw lines faster and slower, and this is like real basic one. So that was about with the graphics, and I want to explain some of the stuff I need in the template. Basically, also when I'm working with this, like the top part is really tech, you know. I have to get things working and properly, and then the bottom part is really wait, how do you say, the drawing part. Mostly I put this part in a different routine, so I have more overview, you know. But I show you, I go that on that path later. You can do that. And, and I like to copy and paste, you know. So, mm, Mostly for my own sanity, because of scrolling and stuff like that, you know. I'm going to include file new, save. Like just the same with P5. A lot of the text stuff is kind of hidden, so mostly I have one file for my drawing and my stuff, so I don't need to scroll things, and then all the text stuff, you know. I mostly in the end put it, paste it back into the big file, but for me it's practical to sort of have my text stuff. For most people, it's a bit complicated. I will tell a bit more later on, and then I mostly have like my animation stuff running, you know. And for the animation part, yeah, this is needed. This is for my FPS counter. If I want to FPS every frame, I do a count, you know. And this runs at 60 frames per second, if possible. If the computer slows down, like I can draw you more lines. So I can also say like every frame I draw, instead of 22 lines, 200, you know. And you see my FPS counter is still big, but if I make it like 2000, you see really the FPS starts to choke, you know. That's important also when drawing, you know, like you want to keep the FPS high, you know. So your computer won't stutter and the music stops playing because you're calculating a lot of things. You want kind of smooth FPS, you know, for when you're making drawings and stuff like that. So we're going back also on the init start. I put it here. I can also say my starting screen. I clear the screen here at the start. Now it's black, you know. And this is my animation loop kind of thing. And I put also like this in it, different animation state. So at the start I can sort of clear the screen. And then it goes to anim counter. The counters keep track of how much frames are drawn, and I clear the screen and then go animal status 1 to the next. And I draw all these lines, and I can say, like, if my counter gets like 500, go to animal state 2. And in animal state 2, I take my pixel buffer and add it with kind of gray. I can make this also like random. And get run. And you see here my FPS text counter, and you see after when the counter gets 500, it jumps to this routine and fades the screen with a random color gray, And it also resets the set buffer here. My far away is real, like, some globals I put in the init. So basically, when you have an animation running, you do the init stuff, and then you draw one layer of things, and then draw another layer, and then at the end you can say sort of, yeah, now it's ready, or the animation keeps on continue forever and ever. So that is like my anim loop, Here I do all the drawing and cleaning and playing, And then the technical part is more like this. And I tell you a few things on it. What we need: image width and height to do is the document name. It gives also, it shows in the menu as a document title, but if I save an image, it will also have this name, You see? Well, I can put the FPS counter true or false. It's nice for bug checking and stuff like that, So now the FPS counter is kind of gone, but when you're programming, you want to sort of, it's a handy tool to have, And I also can sort of add all kinds of extra info on it. Okay, here's my red, green, and blue buffer. Bitmap, it's big array, and for every pixel I keep track of the red, green, blue, and Z for every pixel on the screen. Also for this real big picture. And yeah, I also use different arrays here than the normal array in JavaScript, because the int clumping array goes from 0 to 255. And like if you're working with colors, sometimes it goes bigger than 255 or smaller than 0. It will sort of cut it off, So I don't need error checking that much, and it goes much faster, and it's also smaller in my memory. The sets I really want to keep floating point, especially if you do complex 3D models that intersect. You will really want to have the sharp intersection between the sets, not blocky. And what's important, if I work with a real big screen, draw to the screen, it's an enormous bottleneck, So what I do is I keep a second image as big as my browser window. It's pretty small, and I just update that small image, I sort of calculate the image based on the real big one. So my FPS counter that's really what I work with, you know. And what the what so you can work with real big images, and you sample this down to a smaller screen size image, because you only need like to update this, you know, for the user friendliness, and it's really based on the user screen, and adjust to the screen. And yeah, the slowest bottleneck is if you draw real big pictures to the screen. You don't really need that, you know. So I have smaller canvas where I do like the screen plotting, you know, and that's based on my browser screen. So if it really gets small, you know, it still sort of shows kind of correctly. And I put it really in because CSS, if I show a big canvas, it shows horrible, you know. So I need this little part for the low res to high res to low res thing. I can do the blocks. The frames gap is like I can say like only draw every 30 or every second, you know. It's real slow, but I make it big, but also make it like smaller, you know. This runs, and still you see the FPS counter is going up because every frame now I draw it, and I also can sort of use this sort of. I've got kind of vertical line stepper that checks the image, and I also can change that, you know. So I can say like, well, draw it every 5 frames and do the block step. How big you, how fast you do. You can sort of tweak this, you know, like should I skip frames, or like if I were playing games, I can say instead of 60 frames, I do it at draw at 30 frames per second, you know, and the speed goes really up. And like for games, you want fast graphics, but if you present drawing an image, yeah, you don't need 60 frames per second. You know, you can do much more calmer. And this is instead of calculating the big screen and how it looks should look at on the smaller screen. I convert the big screen. I do it in parts, you know, and I sample it with sort of scan lines, so I can also make scan the big picture to the small one, real small, you know. But you want sort of have a nice balance, so it will sample the image, you know. But yeah, you really have to sort of find a nice middle way that it kind of looks okay, you know. Anyway, screen handling. Oh yeah, this is for the positioning, getting the browser width and height, and should I position it in the screen, kind of thing. It's the set value far away. Mostly when working with set, if the set is closer, I draw it. If the set is further away and something is over it, yeah, I don't draw it, you know. So it's really like checking the set value of my pixel. If it's closer, I draw it. If it's further away, I don't have to draw it in case, you know. I have a little FPS counter. This is for my animation blocky kind of thing. And here it starts when this page is loaded. It will do this one time. It sets the document title. It says the RGB buffers, makes it ready on size. I check an automatic event listener. If my window is scaled, it will jump to this one. And I can say like, and it does it one time at the start. But if I scale now my window, okay, that kind of stuff. I set here the background color. I can also do that dynamically, like 50 is the background color the browser is using. I can also do it like dynamically, you know. Got my XXX here. See, now the background changes dynamically. So you can also do like background fades and darker or lighter and stuff like that, you know. And it's directly in the CSS HTML. Next, I get the browser width and height. It's this technical jargon in the JavaScript gives that. So it's handy to keep the browser width and height. I can say like if it's smaller, draw my picture really nice in the middle, you know. So I have like 0.2. It's more like for positioning and stuff. Yeah, I do here all my technical Windows stuff. When the window is scaled, I really also want to calculate the new smaller image I need to use. I do that here, sort of temporary screen image, besides my big image, and I can sort of pre-calculate the sample rate. You know, like if this one is 4 times smaller, I can have like a block, a pre-calculated block size, so I know like 4 by 4 pixels should become 1 pixel and sampled, you know. And yeah, I do some colorful style sheet and stuff. CSS. I love my rendering pixelated. Not sure if you can see the difference, but blurry blurs the picture more, and I really want super sharp pixels kind of thing, you know. Right, this, I do here the CSS for the counter. You can also make it like bigger, you know. That kind of stuff. Dynamic in HTML. You can show height. I try to have my own random, so keep the random at 1 point. So if I go to other sites that use different blockchain random, so like fxhash has their own random, I just need to change my random stuff here and not in 100 parts of the source, you know. That's why It's easy to get some random as well, and it gives random between that number or an int or a range between like -1, like my personal random routines. Put this in. I'm going to play with that later. It's making circles. Points is it calculates all the circle points, and you can make like, if you have only like 3 circle points, you have like the triangle, and it gives you the points of the triangle between 0, -1, and 1, I think. And you can scale it to the screen, I can or the data I can use for drawing circles or all kinds of shapes. The dirty FPS counter I want. This is for writing dynamically text to HTML kind of thing. Simple array filler fills it with a value for clearing my screen and stuff. Yeah, this is the technical part. I put it in, and it's the sampler that samples a big screen to a smaller screen. I'm not a math wizard or something. Mostly I draw it on paper and then got it working, and then I sort of think like, oh, I don't need that. I can use that and make it smaller and smaller, so I just need the thing. Mostly I write it down on paper or anything like that. Do a very simple, if that, like if I have a screen 2 times bigger, I want to scale it to half. How should I do it? And then finally at one moment you get this routine, that does all the smoothing. It's a basic smoother. It just adds the pixels from my image, and then samples it for big screen image. So it's like it does this like 4 by 4 16, and then it finds the smoothed pixel of those 16 blocks. Also, when I do a screenshot on the fxhash, like now these lines move, and sometimes when you want to do a thumbnail for fxhash, you really want to know now the image is completed, drawn from top to bottom. So I do the fxhash snapshot, so I don't get a horizontal line or render line in it. That's a little detail. Well, and then I draw the whole thing to the screen, and this is also tech JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, that I check. I have my frame skip kind of thing. I can say like draw every frame or every 10 frame FPS, or every second I can draw it. It gets canvas smaller, draw a smaller screen. If the screen is really bigger, I do the sample scale down thing. If I have the mouse look, I can sort of check the mouse position, and based on that, use part of my image buffer, to draw it on the screen, get a position in my array. You can also do like, let's see here. Oh, 1 second, I need to get. You can do like this kind of fun, because you can also say like, well, here we go. Like you can do big screen scrollers, you know, like you have a real big screen, and you can also make like scrollers kind of thing and that kind of stuff. And I kind of just say like my mouse for the moment gets random, so it shows different parts of the screen random now, you know. But like this, you can also make bitmap scrollers and stuff like that, you know. It's kind of fun. Or just you can also say like do it real rare to change the image, you know. Like you're showing a work and then a random sort of change position, you know. Uh, sort of random except around the image, that kind of stuff. So if you want to use scrollers, it's nice to have like the big image as well, you know. That I really like it when it's rendering. You can also check the detail while it's drawing, you know. Dumps to the screen. Put another block for saving the image. And this is also technical jargon. It sort of saves my image. I needed that. I didn't invented it or something. It's sort of basic JavaScript tech to get things done. You know, certain things is more technical. It's probably way over your head, but you really need like the playing part and maybe making your own. Start writing your own drawing routines, line routines, and stuff like that. You know. And yeah, these are sort of things. I don't use this yet, but you can. This is drawing pixel, and it includes like RGB, but also fade and bright. You know, it's simple and it's also sort of seamless. I don't use it yet. It's my first line try. Bresenham. I still have to explore further, but that's for the next tutorial. Get really creative with pixels. And yeah, this is a simple bresenham, just RGB XI, and to put another one that adds sort of set to it as well. Because here I check my set value, like if the set is the same as my set buffer or smaller, draw it, else don't draw it, you know. So, and I put also simple tracker in it, like you don't want to draw out of the screen, you know. And if the X and Y is bigger than the width of my screen or height, I don't draw it, else I draw it. So it's out of bounds check, so don't draw out of the screen. And there are different ways. You can also do seamless conversions, so if it goes out of the screen on the left, it goes back into the right, so you get like nice for making seamless textures and stuff. Yeah, that's more the technical part to get things running, and nice screen, and also a bit nice on FPS and stuff. So I want to start with this template for sort of basic creative coding and tips. And this is the creative part. Mostly when I work with creative stuff, I don't need this, you know. This is kind of working. And I have mostly a second file that does the animation, you know. But once I release it, I mostly put it back in, you know. Because no, the thing runs from a HTML file, and sometimes certain ad blockers will block JS files, you know. And if I have all my script in the HTML page, it would run, and sometimes ad blockers wouldn't run the stuff because they sort of ignore the JS kind of thing. But mostly I try to, because else I go bad with mad with scrolling, you know. I have my and it's a separate part, but mostly in the end I put it back in, you know. Well, that's a basic intro, a lot of things, but yeah, I really want to get the sort of basic template ready, you know, like P5, but then more directly vanilla, and it's also sort of public domain, open source. You can use it for projects already if you want. And yeah, I'm going to explain more and more about the real fun stuff, and that's really like drawing to the screen, using your own routines, using the set buffer, and getting creating soft 3D engines and stuff like that. You know, that's really when the fun starts, and the screen really sort of yeah, you can do your personal touch, you know. And just like real basic, like if I have my line routine here, line try, draw pixels one heart, and I do now the drawing pretty hard, you know. But I can also say like I have my RGB buffer, and I copy that as well, use that as well. Uh, and then you kind of mix my RGB with the background, you know, background color, and now it goes like 50-50. And you see it starts, it's fading, you know. And I can also do it really light, like for example, so I do a real lot of background, and then the pixels are really like light, you know. So you can really do kind of transparent pixels, you know, that kind of stuff. But you can also do like instead of RGB, what you can also do is like minus something. So you can make things darker, you know. So you every time you make a line, it darkens a bit, you know, that kind of stuff. So you can really do really any manipulation, you know, make things darker, lighter, mix fade colors, and like that, you know. Putting it back. And I can also say like draw pixels hard. I can say like yeah, I'll do it another time. There's a lot of things to play with, you know. Anyway, it was second lesson. Hope you like it. Template ready to start playing, you know. And the technical thing, yeah, I guess don't be too scared about it. Just use the bottom part and slowly. I think things will fall into place, you know. But yeah, I really like to do my own things, my own routines, because you have so much more freedom and creativity, and you can create stuff nobody has ever seen before, you know. And yeah, it's really a step further, you know, from P5, and you can go, yeah, really like Minecraft with pixels next, you know. Okay, wish you a nice day. Take it easy.